Hello, my name is Bond, Ian Bond, and this is our martini. Actually, it is a martini. It says gin and vodka mixed together. That's a martini. And this is take three. So this is the third time I've drunk some martini. So probably I'm going to do take four or take five and then go to bed. Let's try. Today's story is Billy Liar. Billy Liar by me. Let's try again. And this time I'm not going to stop. So this is take three, martini, everything. Okay, let's go. Billy Liar. Billy's real name was William Jones. In England, people with the name William are often called Will, Bill, or Billy. William Jones was called Billy Liar because he always lied and exaggerated, and he never told the truth. He started lying when he was only 3 or 4 years old, and he never stopped. Billy's family never believed anything he told them, but they were too tired to argue with him after all these years, so they just listened to his stories and then forgot them. When Billy went to school at 4 years old, he told all the other students and the teachers that his father was a fireman and that his mother was a nurse. No one knows why he chose these two professions. Maybe he thought they were glamorous jobs when he was so young. The Jones family lived in a small town near Manchester called Stamford, and his father Peter worked in a shoe factory while his mother Nancy worked in the local supermarket. The first time he told a big lie was when he was around 5 years old. He broke a window with his football, and he told his mother that a boy from down the street had kicked the ball. She hugged him and told him that everything was fine. She believed his story. And soon he was lying about everything. He lied about food. He was feeding the dog under the table and then telling his mother that he had eaten all his carrots. He lied about anything he didn't like or want to do. One day at school, he had a fight with another boy, and he came home with a black eye. He told his mother that 5 boys had attacked him in the street when he was walking home. His mother was hysterical and hugged him and kissed him, and the next day she went to collect him from school in her car, and he never walked home from school again. Every day in the car, Billy told his mother about the classes and told her that he was the best student in the school. At 11 years old, Billy changed schools, and so he changed his stories. The first thing he did was to change his parents' jobs. His father became a surgeon, and his mother became a bank manager. He never invited friends home to meet his family because Billy Liar didn't have any friends. Well, he had 2 friends, Donald Brandon and Susan Perkins, who were a bit stupid and didn't realise that Billy's stories were not true. He could tell them anything and they believed him. One time, he went to school and told Donald and Susan that he had been to New York for the weekend to see the American Super Bowl game. He had seen the game on TV and he just pretended that he had been there. They were fascinated by his account of the game and the concert at half-time. Whenever Billy had an audience, he would tell a story, a false story. He mixed fact, fiction and fantasy, and it was impossible to know what was true. One day, he was walking in the street and there was a car accident. 2 cars crashed at a crossroad. One driver crossed the red light and hit the other car at very low speed. Both drivers got out of their cars and exchanged details. And after 20 minutes, they were shaking hands and saying goodbye. When Billy told the story, it was 6 cars and 10 people had died in the accident. Billy's father wasn't stupid, and for the first few years he tried to control Billy's lies and confront him when his stories were unbelievable. Billy would shout and cry and make a lot of noise and claim that the story was true and complain to his mother about his father. She didn't want to believe her son was a liar, so she always defended him, and eventually the father stopped saying anything. He just switched off when he heard Billy talking about something. Billy rarely did his school homework. He always invented excuses for not doing it. One day his teachers were talking together and they recalled some of the excuses Billy had made for not doing his homework. They included a big fire in his house, a flood, a gas explosion, many deaths of many grandmothers, an airplane crash in his garden, an unexpected visit from Prince William, a brain tumour, insomnia followed by sleeping sickness, and finally AIDS. At the end of every semester, Billy's teachers gave Billy the worst results in the class. But he told his mother that an A was the worst mark and that an E was the best mark. So he was the best student because all his marks were E's. I don't know if Nancy Jones was very stupid or very gullible, but every year Billy convinced her that he was the most intelligent boy on the planet. Everything came to a head when it came to graduation time, and Billy didn't graduate. Peter and Nancy Jones went to the graduation ceremony and didn't understand why they didn't call Billy's name. In fact, they didn't see Billy at the ceremony. When they returned home, Billy was watching TV. They asked him why he hadn't been at the graduation. He told them that the best student receives his certificate from the director of the school personally, and that he was going to get his certificate the next day. Peter had had enough. Billy, this is bullshit, and you know it's bullshit. Billy was shocked. He had never heard his father use that word. He had left him alone for the last 5 years and rarely spoke to him. He looked at his mother and he forced a tear from one of his eyes. She looked at Billy and then she looked at Peter, and she could see that he was furious. She hated to think that her baby was lying to them, but she knew that this story was completely false. She looked at Billy and said, "Darling, we love you very much, but you cannot continue like this." We went to the graduation and we saw them giving prizes to the best students. You are not the best student in the school. Billy, you didn't graduate, did you? Billy exploded. Of course I graduated. Of course I am the best. I don't know why you say such horrible things to me. You're terrible parents. You've always been horrible to me. You never supported me. Never. Now it was Nancy's turn to explode. What did you say? I never supported you, you ungrateful little bastard. Nancy's face was red and Peter was worried that she was going to have a heart attack or something. "Calm down, Nancy," he said. "Calm down? Calm down," she screamed. "This boy has been lying to us for years. How am I going to calm down?" Billy waited for his moment and then said, "Okay, the truth is that I'm a spy. I work for MI5, British intelligence." Peter and Nancy looked at each other with their mouths open as Billy continued. "Yes, I couldn't tell you before. I haven't been going to school. I've been going to a secret office where I assist with tracking terrorists and spies. They told me that I couldn't tell anyone." Peter was the first to speak. "Do you expect us to believe this rubbish? Did you just invent this story 1 minute ago, or did you have it prepared for the day when we discovered the truth?" Billy kept calm. "They warned me that if I told you, I would have these problems. I wish I hadn't told you now. It was probably better for you to think that I had failed at school. "You did fail at school," shouted Peter, now with a face as red as Nancy's. "Why do you think that telling lies will help you now? We haven't believed a word you have told us for the last 10 years, so why do you think suddenly we will believe this cock and bull story?" Billy turned to go. "Oh, no," said Nancy. "You're not going to walk away from this. I want you to tell the truth. Just one time, I want you to tell the truth. I want to hear it. Look me in the eyes and tell me the truth right now." Billy turned back to them and walked up to Nancy and looked directly into her eyes and said, "I am a secret agent for Her Majesty's government. I work in special intelligence and I help to detect terrorists and prevent terrorism in this country. Believe it or not, it's true." Peter had had enough. "That's it. Go to your room. I don't want to see your face. Stay in your room until tomorrow. There's no dinner for you. I don't want to see you." Billy still had a calm look on his face when he replied, "Okay, I will respect your wishes, but I do need to go to a special operation tonight around 10 p.m, so I won't be able to stay in my room until tomorrow. Also, I have to be at MI5 at 9 a.m, so I will be leaving early in the morning." Peter wanted to slap Billy in the face, but Nancy saw the danger and quickly started pushing Billy towards the door. "You are pushing all the wrong buttons right now. I've never seen your father so angry. Just go upstairs and stay there. Don't say another word. Just go." And Billy finally paid attention to his mother and went out of the room. They heard him go up the stairs and close his door with a bang. At least now they could start breathing normally again. Peter spoke first. "So, what are we going to do with him? He has failed at school, no one will employ him, and we can't communicate with him without him lying. What is going to happen tomorrow? Who can we talk to? What can we do?" Nancy started to cry, and Peter put his arm around her shoulder. "He's my baby. He's my baby. I can't believe any of this." Peter was angry with himself that he had let this situation continue for so many years without saying anything. In his room, Billy Liar was sending a text to MI5 agents Donald Brandon and Susan Perkins. It said, "My parents know about our work. I have problems getting out of the house tonight. See you at the bus station at 6 a.m. Billy." He went to his closet, opened a secret compartment, and took out a file he was compiling on local people who he thought were connected to terrorism. He studied the names and faces and made notes beside them. The next day, Peter and Nancy woke up and they entered Billy's room. He wasn't there. Peter went into the bathroom and he wasn't there either. Nancy checked the living room and the garden, but Billy was nowhere to be found. "Where is he?" Peter asked. "I don't know. It's 7 a.m. in the morning. He doesn't have school. Where did he go so early?" Nancy said. Shall I call the police?" Peter looked at her like she was crazy. "And what are you going to say to the police? My son got up early and left the house? Don't be ridiculous, Nancy." She was offended and said, "Don't talk to me like that. Have some respect, please." Billy arrived in London with his two friends, and they were worried because it was 8:45 and the meeting was going to start at 9 a.m. They were running along the streets, trying to remember exactly where the MI5 office was. Susan couldn't run as fast as the other two, and Billy was always yelling, "Come on, Susan, run!" In the distance, they could see the distinctive, famous MI5 building, and Billy started to relax a little when he realised they were going to be on time. In Stamford, things were changing by the minute. Susan and Donald's parents had arrived at Billy's house, and they were all sharing their versions of the situation. They had all had problems with their children for the past few months because they all told lies, and they were having secret conversations every 5 minutes. Everyone blamed Billy, and Nancy was very sad because just 24 hours ago her Billy had been her baby, and she knew nothing about anything now. When Billy, Susan and Donald arrived at the MI5 offices, they climbed the stairs and reached the front door. Billy rang the bell beside the big door. And if you want to know what happened next, you need to use your imagination. Was this all a big fantasy? Was Billy a spy? What do you think? Tell me. Ooh, cheers.